Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. AJ Lee made her WWE return after more than a decade last Friday on SmackDown. A former WWE star recently had nothing but kind words for Lee, putting her over for breaking barriers during her first stint with the company. With CM Punk being hounded by Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, he turned to his wife to get even against his rivals. Lee arrived on last week's SmackDown and attacked the reigning Women's Intercontinental Champion. Their mixed tag team match at WrestlePalooza will be Lee's first bout since March 30, 2015. The tag team contest was confirmed on this week's Raw. Speaking on the Massive Heat podcast, Matt Morgan praised AJ Lee for her previous work in WWE. Morgan mentioned how the Black Widow had to battle a lot of things during her first stint, including peers who weren't as good as her in the ring. She managed to overcome every obstacle to be an inspiration to the current generation of superstars. AJ Lee's first run in WWE lasted 6 years, from 2009 to 2015, during which she won the Divas Championship 3 times. For those wondering if AJ Lee's return is for a one-off match, Bodyslam.net recently reported some good news. Lee has signed a multi-year deal with the global juggernaut and will be wrestling on a full-time schedule. Shortly after her return to the company last Friday, Triple H took to his social media accounts to share a now viral video of Lee signing the contract. At just 38 years old, the 3-time Divas champion appears to be in the best shape of her life. WWE has already positioned her as Becky Lynch's rival, possibly for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Juan Paulo David has been covering all things WWE for Sportskeeda since 2020 and has 8 years of experience in content writing. He holds a degree in agriculture but has been a fan of pro wrestling since a kid. This love for the entertainment sport led him to write about it. Juan writes well-researched articles, not only to ensure that he presents readers with correct facts and figures, but also because he wants to learn as much as possible about the topics he writes about. Edge is Juan's all-time favorite wrestler. He grew up watching Edge and Christian and was a huge fan of their tag team. So much so that if he could go back in time, he would manage the duo and let them know that he can play their entrance themes with a kazoo. Besides wrestling, Juan loves to watch NBA or a Dortmund game. He also enjoys watching TV and movies during his free time. He works as a writer in SK's basketball division. In the bright lights and roaring roar of the WWE ring, legends are born not only from victories, but from the scars. They are forged by struggle, shaped by resistance, and polished by defiance. AJ Lee is one such legend. In the words of former WWE star Matt Morgan, she gutted, scraped, scratched, and clawed her way to the top. She did this in an era when standards, expectations, and superficial biases stacked the deck against her. It's easy to forget, looking back at her legacy now, how many walls she cracked just by refusing to back down. When April Jeanette Mendez, AJ Lee, first stepped into WWE, the industry was markedly different. Women were often characters of decoration, footnotes in bigger stories, or occasional side attractions. The Divas era was defined less by in-ring storytelling and more by costumes, photo shoots, and manufactured glamour. Matches were often short, character work secondary, and the in-ring psychology, how a wrestler thinks, reacts, sets up tension, sells pain, was just a whisper compared to flashy entrance music and image. Against that background, AJ Lee was never content to be just a backdrop. Her path started outside the WWE limelight, in the Indies in New Jersey, training hard, learning every bump, every hold, every moment that matters to make a match feel real. She knew she didn't look like many of her peers. She didn't want to. She came in strong. She came in messy sometimes, but always honest. Morgan's words remind us. She didn't just step up. She fought for every inch. This image of someone who bled metaphorically, if not literally, captures more than pain. It captures perseverance. AJ Lee had to confront more than opponents in the ring. She had to confront expectations. What the WWE thought a female performer should be, how she should look, what moves she should know or not know, and even how she should behave. She had less room to stumble. There were fewer forgiving eyes. But what she lacked in the industry's support, she more than made up for in grit and creativity. When Morgan says she had peers who were not good, he isn't simply criticizing others. Rather, he's drawing a contrast. While many around her may have coasts of image or the props of popularity, AG brought substance. Wrestling technique, psychology, ring presence. She strived to sharpen those even when the system around her didn't reward them consistently. She made every match matter. AJ Lee's three-time Divas Championship run is part of the record, but what stands out even more is how she changed what was possible. She helped shift the conversation. Not overnight, but gradually. She showed that women could carry storylines, could have long matches, could suffer believable pain, and deliver believable comeback. She connected with the audience not just through glamour, but through vulnerability, through character. Her promos were funny, caustic, emotionally raw. Her psychology was complex. Her in-ring style mixed speed, agility, and emotion. When she asserted herself as not the typical beautiful, perfect Divas model, she invited others to believe they didn't have to be either. She inspired that there was room for someone as flawed as they felt, and still rise. Zeta Steele, one of the newer generation, said as much. Without AJ, she probably wouldn't even believe it was possible to be a wrestler in WWE. Because AJ didn't try to be like everyone else, she stayed true. Morgan's remark about peers who were not good is dissonant and blunt. It acknowledges that the environment wasn't always ideal. Many lacked in-ring skill or storytelling ability, perhaps because they were given other advantages, looks, connections, timing. But AJ standing amidst them highlights how high one can rise even when many around you depend more on appearance than ability. Because of that, her achievements seem even more meaningful. She wasn't just good for a woman wrestler of that era. She was genuinely good, period. She raised the bar. She made those who came after her believe that in-ring excellence did matter, even when the larger narrative didn't always make space for it. The struggle was not without cost. Wrestlers pay with their bodies, their time, their relationships, their mental well-being. AJ Lee has spoken openly in her memoir about mental health, bipolar disorder, the hardships of childhood, and what it means to grow up fast, to fight battles you didn't choose. These things seep into performance, into what it means to show up, despite pain. She stepped into roles others may have quit. She pushed boundaries, some of them invisible, some of them very real. Her legacy isn't only titles won, but doors opened, because she showed there was an audience for a wrestler who wasn't just a pretty face, but someone with scars, someone with fights both inside and outside the squared circle, someone who could both entertain and be technically compelling. Today's WWE landscape has dramatically changed. Women headline shows, main events, WrestleMania matches. Technical skill is a centerpiece. Much of that change draws a line backward, with AJ Lee's run as a reference point. She's part of the bridge between the old style where women were sidelined and the newer style where they are central. Her return, after years away, with a multi-year deal, attacking the Women's Intercontinental Champion, stepping back into storylines, tag matches, mixed matches, isn't just nostalgia. It's affirmation. It's affirmation that her impact still matters, that her style still resonates. It's also affirmation that the groundwork laid by people who fight, who scar, who clawed through adversity, continues to sustain new generations. Reflections: what being gutted, scraped, scratched, and clawed teaches. Resilience is cumulative. Every rejection, every imperfect match, every criticism built muscles she needed later. Authenticity matters. In an industry enamored of image, being raw, real, emotionally available can be more powerful. Pushing for more, even when you're offered less. She often had to elevate storylines herself, sharpen her promos, bring personality to every moment, making the path visible. By her doing what she did, she showed other women it was possible. And that visibility matters enormously. In the end, AJ Lee didn't just win titles, she helped shift the values of a sport. She changed what WWE meant for women inside and outside the ring. She showed that wrestling, on its best days, is about conflict, about vulnerability, about the visible scars, and the invisible push of heart. And she did so with a scratch and claw in every match, a growl in every promo, and a refusal to let anyone else define what she could be. Her peers were not good, Morgan said, but she made them better. She forced them to reach higher. And even in that environment, in that moment, she rose. Cutted, scraped, scratched, and clawed, yes. But in doing so, AJ Lee did more than survive. She changed the game.